SelectionPDQ.com. Like Kelly mentioned earlier, we're going over best practices. Now, the interesting thing about best practices is to become a best practice, well, for me, you got to do a bunch of stuff wrong to realize you shouldn't do it that way. So we've got some pretty good stories about what has transpired to make some of these best practices. With that, jumping into this, guys, a lot of this is going to be review. Best practices, I like to think, are common sense for everybody but me, because, just kind of the way it is. So to start out, best practice for deploy, it's a good rule, just straight out the gate. Use inventory to make all your choices with deploy. Pick your targets, do those things. The logic's there. It's like, how do you say it, Hanks? It's like your wife?
Yeah, inventory is kind of like my wife, and I'm like deploy. I just do what I'm told.
Do what you're told, right? Very powerful. Get it done, but someone else is doing the thinking. So that's the first best practice. Use inventory everywhere you can.
If you're going to automate, more information is always better. Inventory is going to give you any information you could want.
Absolutely. All right. Now that we're done with this shameless plug. Okay. Let's just start by running through a few things about packaging. All right. So let's build a package. We'll start out, and first best practice, and if you've seen any of my videos or any of our webcasts, it's name your packages, okay? Half the time I never do it. I just do it and then I gotta go read it. So name this, we're gonna name this duh package, right? So das package. All right.
JJ request that you send her that.
JJ request that I sent. Thank you, JJ.
And all right, spelling is optional.
Thanks, guys. Okay, spelling doesn't, okay. Now, I want to jump into install steps. There's so many things you can do with install steps. Again, just best practices for install steps. And again, this comes from just one working in support and doing things wrong my way is, you learn from experience, I guess. You can go pick your install, your setup exe and those kind of things, but you have to have silent parameters. I don't know how many times I've run one and either forgot it or I get a support call that says silent parameters. You got to have them. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Hanks, how do you go about, we were talking the other day about silent parameters. How do you test yours and do that?
Usually I have a test machine sitting next to me that I can scan pretty easily with inventory, but it doesn't have anything on it. And then I'll open a command prompt and drop whatever install files I've got, add those parameters or whatever I find online, and hit enter. Does it install silently? Does it, is it successful? Can I open the program?
You actually do it by hand first.
Yep. I always do that because then I can rule any other programs out as variables of errors or things like that.
So would that be another best practice? Don't test in production?
I think that's a universal best practice, not just PDQ Deploy.
Okay, well, it may be a universal best practice, but is it something that we do?
It depends on if I have a lab.
I have a lab? Yeah, I'm using it in a lab.
I will say this. I've had things show up on my machine from Lex. So I'm testing in production.
For production.
They don't trust me on the production machines.
I don't trust either. Here's something else that's happened before. I've seen people come in here and tag the custom line and put their silent parameters here, okay? The second you do that, notice what it does up here to the install file selection. It grays it out so you can't change it. It grays out your parameter line, not the right spot for your silent parameters. Again, Google foo that stuff, but where those belong is on the parameters line. Again, this is new. This is nothing new. For people who haven't seen this before, this will be, kind of a good thing. But put it here, and again, it will put that, append it on the command line. The only time I've ever seen a real use, and this is me, for the custom is if you ever do an MSI and you need to take out like the all users equal 1 or something like that and change that. You guys want to, let me just show you that real quick. So if you grab the MSI file, okay, you'll notice that all users equals 1. I can't go to the parameters here and change that. I can grab everything and change everything here, but it won't take that out. So to do that one, I do have to hit custom to take that all users to change that. So any other reasons you might think to hit that custom line, guys?
I've never had to use it myself, so yeah, it's it'd have to be very particular why your environment can handle what's there by default.
I have had to do that once or twice with different applications because they have very specific parameters that those the MSI adding, all those you have to take them out or change it like to a QN versus a Q or things like that.
Only time. Okay, that brings me to the next thing on install files. Okay, if you'll notice right now, notice how big this right here. I'm going to actually use the highlighter, and I'm going to use it wrong. I'm not even going to circle the thing I wanted. There it is. You notice the size of this file because this is just a setup.exe file that doesn't. I just named it right. There's no file size with this. If you're installing something that's got a bunch of cab files, that number should be significantly larger than, teeny K, right? Kilobytes. So a best practice, if you need to include INI files or cab files or that, how this works is where that setup.exe file exists, if you hit the include entire directory, it's going to grab the directory where that exists and all the subs of that. So best practice for me is anything I need to add to it, an INI file, any of the custom things that I'm putting, I put in the same folder as that setup.exe, and it makes it real easy to grab the entire directory. You'll notice it says 23 files and it's 313 megs, so I know I've actually grabbed something. Any thoughts, guys?
Not for this one, but Marcel had a best practice he put in the chat where he says for the install file, use the variable for the repository.
Absolutely.
Would be good that way if that information changes, you don't have to update every package.
We need to get him on here. No, thank you, Marcel. Those are some great comments. I do appreciate that. Before we move on, do we want to do a question or should I keep rolling? Okay.
Dear Lex, how can I quickly identify all packages that aren't linked to a schedule? Thanks, Jeremy G.
Well, there's a great way to do that aren't linked to a schedule. Well, first of all, I can tell you all the ones that are not being used that are linked to a package. So if you go here to unused files right here at the bottom, JJ's going to be so proud of me. I use the highlighter twice. That's it, man. All my highlighting is used up.
Quota's been met.
Quota has been met. Okay. This, if you open this up, it's going to show you all the ones that are linked to a package. So first of all, boom, there they are. Pretty easy. I like to control all and then delete them. Now, caveat on that, guys. Again, let's say Jordan and I were working and he had some stuff out there that wasn't in a package that was being registered in PDQ. I could be deleting some of his work or possible future work for him. So just be kind of
So that's going to catch files that aren't part of a package.
True.
Not necessarily what's not part of a schedule.
Exactly. And that's kind of a little more difficult. Packages that aren't part of a schedule.
So
Any ideas, guys?
What I would do there is if there are packages in my console that I'm no longer using, older versions, I may want to keep the package around as a sort of a template. But if I have 3 or 4 versions of them, I'm going to get rid of the old actual packages that I built. And that will then put those files as not being used. But yeah, as far as finding the ones that are not part of any schedule, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
Anybody's got a good idea, pop it in the chat. We'd love to hear about it. Good question. Thank you. Let's just talk about another step that, there's usually some good best practices in regards to, and that would be the PowerShell step. Now, I got to tell you, when it comes to PowerShell and me, I am really, really, really strong at Linux. So anytime I need PowerShell done, I either got to copy it, I got to download it, or I got to have someone else write it. Jordan, thoughts on PowerShell best practices, man?
Well, the first one is kind of makes it a bit easier is when it comes to credentials with PowerShell. If you're using the PowerShell step, it's using the credentials as that and sending it over, so you don't have to worry about that being, an unsecure method. But if your PowerShell step is doing something like calling up something where it didn't have access, so you have to use those credentials, make sure you build those credentials in a secure way to make it so your data is still protected.
No plain text passwords?
No plain text. Well, I do plain text passwords, but like I said, I don't have access to anything important.
So if you want it secure, is what you're saying, don't do it in plain text.
I'm not convinced my machine's not actually an Etch-a-Sketch. So
still working?
Yeah, so it's one of those, out of the box default, if you just send in what I would say probably 95% of the PowerShell scripts out there, the credentials are secure because we use our product is secure. But if you are using something outside of that where you're pulling something in outside, then just make sure you're using a secure method. We did a webcast on that a few weeks ago where you can build those credentials securely and make sure everything is safe for you there.
Absolutely.
Other than that, best practice, know what you're running.
Well, is that directed at me for reading it before I execute it, or what?
I like how you got that dig in.
No, I say this a lot, but in this very building, I have run something without fully knowing the impact. So what happened was that we were building the new packages that come out for software updates, and it was a manual process. It was dry. It was a lot of human error possibility. You do, visual confirmation, everything, and we had an employee here that went through and automated a lot of those steps. It would go through and update the ticket for us automatically. It would do a lot of the comparisons. You just had to point it to where these files were, which was fantastic. It saved hours a week, and it removed all the human error. So I was just running this because I trusted it. I trust you, Steve. and I knew what it did, but I didn't know what would happen if I just tried to cancel out and leave all those variables blank instead of hitting stop script. So I just canceled out all blank variables. And it turns out what it's going to do is at the end of the cleanup, it's going to delete whatever the file it was running in. And since I didn't point it to where files were, it was where my default was, which was System32.
Ooh.
I will say it didn't delete everything in System32 because some of those can't be deleted with a regular force. But it absolutely broke my computer.
Had to rebuild. Did you have to rebuild?
There was a rebuild that happened there.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm not smart, I tried to recover that machine for longer than was wise. But rebuilt machine works great now.
So that best practice came from what? Shame?
So when I say know what you're running, it comes from experience.
Experience. Know what you're running.
If you got something that you didn't write yourself, go through it thoroughly. Make sure you know everything that's going to happen. But I like to say I QA'd the script. Now, if you leave a blank variable, it will just cancel out. So it was just successful QA of a process instead of a mistake.
Yeah. Sure it was. Hanks, any thoughts?
No.
No, just sitting back there
I
laughing.
used to test in production.
I used to test in production. But
Let's
I don't
spend 30
anymore.
seconds and shame me.
Should we go back to that? Don't test in production again.
No, when I'm uninstalling a coupon printer from a bunch of teachers' computers, I don't care if it jacks it up.
Okay. Do we want to do another question? Or should I keep going? All right, let's do a question.
Hey guys, is there a way to use deploy once in PDQ Deploy, schedule it later, and remove that schedule after it's been deployed? I've run into situations where I have a one-off package to deploy that I want deployed at a later time in the day, but not create a bunch of schedules. Thanks, guys. Sincerely, Chris.
Okay, so you had a package, you want to run it once, deploy once, and then schedule it later, and then have that schedule not run again. New schedule, under triggers, just run it once there.
I think what he's saying is he doesn't want that schedule to be remnant.
And then you want the schedule to disappear?
Yeah. So you get a call, I need to get this installed, but I'm in the middle of a presentation, so can you do it in 2 or 3 hours? Sure, I can do that. So I'm going to set up the schedule now because I'm sitting here.
Okay.
But now I'm going to be driving the car.
And I want the
schedule's
schedule to
gonna
run
kick
and
off.
then delete itself automatically?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can delete the schedule, but the run if or don't run if successful checkbox should make it so it's not going to keep running for you. It's just this, you have to go in after the fact, remove the schedule.
Yeah, I don't know about any way we can automatically delete a schedule, but I'd use the run once, and there's your later schedule. But as for deleting it, maybe some PowerShell and SQL trickery.
Yeah, I guess you could have a step of that package to be a PowerShell step that runs the SQL check and deletes it out that. But that's a dangerous game.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I wouldn't do that.
you're messing with magic
So,
there.
sounds like a feature, deploy and destroy.
Deploy and destroy. That sounds like a horrible idea. What could go wrong there? We're talking best practices. What could go wrong?
So I think that the checkbox saying "don't run when successful" will take care of the issue of it running again, and then you're going to have to remove the
You'll have to
schedule.
go
when you're
delete
done
it,
with
yeah.
So there's
Or you can always put delete after this time in the title.
You can always sort those schedules by trigger on that column. So you could sort them and then select them all and
Yep.
do that in one fell
If I
swoop.
had any schedules, there's a column, and you could sort it by.
Way to be prepared for the question.
There's no schedules, man. I can't anticipate everything. Most everything, anyways. Okay, anything. Let's be real. Should we do another question?
Hey Lex, in a situation where you are uninstalling one product in order to replace another, should that be two different deployments? Just curious what the best practice would be, like removing Foxit PDF and replacing with Adobe Acrobat Reader PDF. Sincerely, R. Horton.
All right, and there's a lot of ways up that mountain. The way I like to do it, you build your uninstall package, okay? And then you have your install package, and then you can just build a nested package and put the uninstall in, put a pause in, a reboot, whatever. Then the install, and you'll know it's gonna, at least you'll know steps through it, whether it made it that way. That's the way I would do it. Hank's ideas?
I guess the caveat to that question is really this. Does the application that you're uninstalling and reinstalling a new version or different application have a dependency on anything or hurt your end users during the day? So could you uninstall it and they don't even know, they don't care? Or is it your antivirus and you need to have antivirus on there? So that's really the caveat for me. If it was antivirus and I had to do that, I would do it all in one package and have all those dependencies and conditions and stuff in there. But if it was something where I could have two applications running side by side, I'd do it in two different schedules.
He's wrong. Do it my way. I'm just kidding. Two ways up the same hill. My way's better. Anyway, all right, I got to talk about this next step because it's near and dear to my heart, guys. It's the reboot step. What in the world could go wrong with a reboot step?
Seems so
I just hear
obvious.
giggling over there, okay? What could really go wrong? Even if it's a simple reboot step, I always put conditions on it, okay? Just because I am so concerned about rebooting all the servers in the middle of the day or the middle of the night, right? So I always go in at the very least, I put the condition, don't run on servers, because when I reboot servers, I want to reboot servers. I want to do it. I don't want it to be automated, or I want to be sending it one at a time to those. So just be aware, reboots can cause career limiting moves. Is it career limiting moves, CLMs?
Resume writing events.
Resume polishing events, yes. So just, there's nothing wrong putting just that right there could save you a huge headache, just the only run on workstations. At least in the very, if it's a step or a post step after, let's say you install your Windows updates, you're not taking down servers when you didn't mean to. So any other comments on reboot steps?
I
No.
don't put them on a heartbeat.
We're getting to that one.
I have a horror story on that one. But
I want to hear it, man. Tell me about what happened.
Oh, I just, because I used to work in a school system with 100 different techs and different sites, and they just would click buttons and not really know what they were doing. So you're probably going to tell this story about using the retry queue with a heartbeat trigger at some point, but when you add that package is a reboot, that is bad.
Bad?
Yeah,
Bad?
because when everybody comes in the morning and they turn their machines on and then they reboot, yeah, it's fun.
Well, let us jump into scheduling. What a great thing to do. So when you're building schedules, all right, so this is deploy and scheduling, right? First, well, okay, maybe second. First is name your schedules, so you don't have new schedule or blank schedule. So we'll call this deschedule, right?
Again, spelling optional.
Spelling is optional in this case. I like to generally do multiple triggers. I like to run my packages weekly at night after hours when nobody's here because I don't want I don't want the phone call. I just don't want the phone calls, right? The other thing I like to do is put a heartbeat, and always tag that heartbeat to run after, on the Monday following or the Sunday following, right? And a couple of things to think about. Let me explain how the heartbeat actually works. So again, for that to work, you have to have PDQ inventory. Now, what a heartbeat schedule does, you'll notice right here in our online status that is not showing up here. I did this there it is, online. You'll notice no. Okay, heartbeat schedule, basically what that does when a machine goes from an offline state to an online state with this on, here it is. I now did that 3 times, JJ. Don't feel like you wasted your time making the highlighter. Okay, when it goes from a no to a yes, okay, it starts that heartbeat schedule, checking in, is there something I need to deploy, so on and so forth. But let me just give you the rundown. So heartbeat schedule is based off of, if you go to preferences, networking, here it is. I've got my interval at 300 seconds. So let's say Hanks was supposed to get Chrome over the weekend, right? I asked everybody to leave your machines on, and Jason being Jason's like, I'm not doing a dang thing Lex says, turns his machine off.
How did you know?
Absolutely. So what happens is, let's say, and we're going to take worst case situation. So heartbeat schedule just ran and notice Jason's machine off, and the second he turns it on a second after that. So now it's going to take another 299, say 300 seconds before it runs that schedule again to find out that his machine's on. Once it's on, it generally takes about somewhere up to 2 minutes, is what I've been told, for it to contact and start the deployment, assuming that there are no other deployments queued up, right? So in a worst case situation here, it's going to be about 7 minutes before Jason starts getting Chrome, okay? Now, it is possible for him to turn the machine on. Let's say he turned it on, printed something, turned his machine off, so that didn't happen. But the nice thing is the next time it actually is on that long, he will get Chrome. Let's say you happen to put a reboot step at the end of that. That post step was a reboot. So his machine comes on. He does what he does every day, which is get on, fire up the YouTube, and start watching ABBA videos. Okay?
The best.
Into 2 minutes into his ABBA video, oh, sorry, their songs are only 2 minutes long. So 30 seconds into his ABBA video,
Oh, take a chance on me.
ow, his machine reboots. Okay? Now, Jason will just automatically assume I'm messing with him, but if this is someone else, they're going to be going, what the crap's going on? You're going to get a phone call. So just be aware, if you include reboot steps as post steps for things that are going to be on a heartbeat, you may get some calls. And you got to kind of weigh that, I guess. Jordan looked like you had something to...
Well, no, I was trying to hold in a laugh from the take a chance on me joke. But to add to that, there's a time where you can kid glove on whether you reboot or not. But if you have a, hey, don't turn your machine off, and they ignore that, at that point I say kid gloves are off and just reboot it.
Game on? Yeah.
There is one other caveat to that heartbeat.
Yeah, tell me.
So if you have computers in your console that have not been scanned, the heartbeat will not affect those, especially on that first scan, because it doesn't know the information about that computer, MAC address, things like that. So if a computer has been scanned successfully, it is then eligible to be triggered by that heartbeat trigger. So that first time it scans, if you add a bunch of computers to your console and you have a heartbeat trigger already set up, it will not kick over because it hasn't seen them change from off to on.
That's like a Colby comment. Are you channeling Colby today?
That is a deep information there.
That's impressive.
Wait, hold on. Let me check my phone and see what he says.
What did Colby say?
So I'm going to look into the future, and I say if you take a question right now, it's going to be very relevant to the heartbeat.
Yep,
Shall
I
we
would
do
recommend it.
Unless you're a super trooper. I just got to say that.
I hate ABBA.
We do have a relevant question.
Oh, let's
If
take it.
Jake, if you'd like to pop that baby up there. Dear Lex, does heartbeat trigger while a computer is already online? Marcel L.
Thank you, Marcel. If machines, again, it has to go from it has to have been scanned once. Thank you, Jason. And it has to go from an offline state, a no to a yes. So if it's on and it was supposed to get something and didn't get it, no, it's not going to trigger that until you actually get that change from an off to an on, the no to a yes in inventory. Thank you. Great question.
Yeah, so you run the risk if it reboots and comes back up before it registers as going offline, it still won't. So there is some, if they have a quick reboot, there could be some, you might want to adjust your heartbeat window.
Or just have them hit it again with the regular schedule. But there's a lot of different ways to go about that one. And, I don't know if you guys noticed while we were talking, I deleted the other two steps, and now I've just got my reboot package. Okay, another place you can put conditions for your is at the package level. I hit properties right up here. I can only say run this package again. Similarly at the package level. Now, the other thing about reboot packages, I love them and I hate them. Okay. Love them because it does one thing. I know what it's going to do. And I can put all kinds of conditions on that and run it against, again, inventory. Is it part of a collection? Does it need a reboot? So on and so forth. That logic. One thing you should never, can I say never enough? Don't ever put a straight reboot package on either the retry queue or on a heartbeat schedule. I know it's one of those things. Machine's offline, comes online, didn't get a reboot, reboots it.
So what's the difference between the retry queue and a heartbeat trigger?
Well, heartbeat trigger, again, is a lot more elegant. It waits for the machine to come online. The retry queue is kind of the forceful IT way. We're going to do this every hour on the hour for 72 attempts.
You say never, but it feels like if someone sent in a ticket and you felt like they're just being a little bit too sassy with you, that this is a great solution for that problem.
I can see how that would be.
We actually have another heartbeat question
Oh.
if you're game.
Let's do it.
All right. Dear Lex, can you use PDQ to send notifications when a heartbeat is lost? Jim L.
Can I use a heartbeat to send notification?
So the only thing I can think of with this one is when the heartbeat's lost. I guess we don't kick off a package when it's lost, so there's nothing to run on that one. We only run when it comes back online.
Yeah.
So we could have something where it notifies you if you have a step in there that documents in some way that the machine came online. That would work, but we don't do anything when it goes offline because we can't deploy to the machine at that point. We only kick off on the first.
So, thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it. Another thing with schedules, I just want to point this out right here. And this one, I'm going to tell a little story. If you put a starting and an ending date on your schedule, remember you put an ending date on it. I got a call from a very close friend and customer on a Saturday evening. He was trying to get some stuff done. It'd been taking him a month, and he was just kind of scheduling, let it go. And he was supposed to be done mid-August. And he was down to like August 13th, and he calls me and he was like, I don't know what's wrong. I can deploy this by hand. My schedule's not working. I've been on this for hours. I jumped on, and his ending date on his schedule was July 30th. So, I mean, everything was working the way it was supposed to be. And when I showed him that, he's like, ooh, sorry to bother you. But everything was taken care of. Just be aware if those ending dates pass, you can try and kick those schedules off. They're not going to run. Another thing with schedules is if you go to options here, you can change copy mode, scanning mode, run as, okay, right here. The stop deploying targets once they succeed. Again, another best practice. Don't keep hammering machines that don't need it. Any thoughts in regards to scheduling?
Yeah, just the smallest, I guess, presence you can have with the schedule is best. So you want to definitely fine tune that so it's still effective, but it's the least impact that you can have on your environment.
Finally, I just circled that use inventory scan credentials. Okay, here's the thing. Let's say you've got domain machines, you've got workstation machines, or work group machines, you've got different credentials. Again, using PDQ inventory to decide which credentials to use on that. I like the defaults, and what's always best, use the PDQ inventory scan credentials, because then you don't have to guess. What's being used to scan it will be used to deploy.
If you're sure those credentials are able to scan, they're most likely able to finish the deployment.
Absolutely.
Will you go to the all schedules and show the additional columns? Make sure you have them all.
Hang on, I got to add a target here. Save this so we have something to look at. Choose targets. Again, inventory, collection. We'll just grab whatever comes up. Oh, Mozilla old. Okay. We're going where again?
So close that out and show all schedules in your console.
All schedules.
So this is going to be important information here, especially if you are A, doing it multiple time zones, B, in central server mode, sharing this with your team, and you're all using this, so making sure that you're looking at what schedules are here and all the different triggers and things like that, and having descriptions on your schedules.
Yeah, descriptions are good, especially. Yes.
No, I was just saying descriptions.
Oh.
Yeah, that's something that is very useful, but since I'm always just testing for a quick thing, I've never filled out a description. I have so many things I don't even know what they do anymore.
I am the best at not putting descriptions in, and every time we go anywhere, Hank's like, obviously, Alex did this. There's no description. What is?
If anyone at home at work was wondering if I follow best practice all the time, no.
We've gone on tour, and I look at Lex's machine, and it says new package 1, new package 2, new package 3.
Hey, I'm working on my best practices, okay? Naming stuff before I start building, all right? I'm working on it.
I love that your favorite thing is, I love that this appends a number so I know which one it is.
The programmers were thinking of me when they did that, all right? Be nice. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, do we want to do a speed round?
Let's do a speed round. I love it.
We got a bunch.
All right, here we go.
All right. Hey, guys, is there a way to trigger a scan by heartbeat if it fails at a scheduled scan? For example, I have my scan set to go at 9 a.m., but some systems only come online later in the day. Thanks a bunch, Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic. All right, so here's our schedule. It's supposed to run 11 a.m. Heartbeat. I'm going to go tell that trigger to run Thursday at, and that was going to run at 11. We'll just say this one can run at 12, or we're going to go 11:15 a.m. same day. So if I schedule that right after that, you know, if they come on after that schedule's run, it's going to run. So you can play with your starting times there. Any other thoughts, guys?
Scan age. So if you're running a scan every single day on certain information, you got 95% of your computers come in 7 a.m. They scan. If your scan age is set to 1 day, when that straggler comes in, he's going to get hit because his scan age is past 1 day. The rest of them won't. A heartbeat could hit anybody moving from one area to another, might be switching Wi-Fi, things like that.
If you're going to do that, make sure under options, stop deploying targets once they succeed, because you'll...
Well, we're talking about scanning though.
Was that scanning? I thought it
Yeah.
was a scheduling thing.
Yeah, he's talking about scheduling a scan.
Okay. Next.
Dear Lex, I created an uninstall package for Office 2010 by using the tools in inventory. However, the uninstall package always fails when it is deployed. Thoughts? Kevin?
2010 uninstall package using... I think you're going to need to use the Office customization tool to do that uninstall. You guys, I mean, it's been a long time since I've done 2010.
Yeah, so 2010, I think there's probably something in the forums out there where people have done it. I do know with the recent Office, the way it uninstalls changes. So if you're following steps for, like if you're trying to copy from a recent Office uninstall, it's different.
Yeah.
Is he using the uninstall package in the package library?
I don't think we have that for Office, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Do we? Let's go find out.
Okay.
Package library.
That's what I get for questioning the guy that talks about the product all day.
Uninstall.
He said that failed too.
But you got to spell it right. Uninstall.
Again, spelling is optional.
So I guess if that one failed too, if our pre-built one failed and you still have an issue with that one, I would contact support and we could probably track down what's...
We got to uninstall the service pack, Hanks.
I thought there was an uninstall Office or uninstall all Office.
Oh, there we go. I went past it. Uninstall Office 20. There's 2010. Use that one.
Yeah, well, he's
saying that fails
said
too.
Oh, that fails
so I would
too,
say
wow.
if that one failed too, I would contact support
Yeah.
and we could do a deeper look into that one because that one shouldn't fail for that.
Correct.
Good point. I think that took more than a minute.
Hey guys, when removing software such as older versions of MS SQL Server and components, is it best to set up different deployments for each installed component? Sincerely, Commander R.
Commander R. Boy, that's I haven't installed it enough to give you a best practice to be installed or uninstalled enough for a best practice. You guys, any thoughts on that?
My initial impulse is if none of them require a reboot, just have them on there. Even if they do require a reboot, just put a reboot step in between the one that requires it and the next ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I don't see an issue with that one. If you're having problems with it, then breaking it down might work. But then we have the continued deployment from failed step where
You can always.
So I don't see an issue with doing all components from one install step if you've tested them all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as there's no dependency on the previous one, then it wouldn't be an issue, I don't think.
I do what they say.
Hey guys, when removing software, actually we just did that one, didn't we? Hang on.
I know
There we
the answer to
go.
that one now.
You ever get that deja vu
All
feeling?
right, deja vu. Dear Lexathon, can trigger and schedule be combined in a scene? If computer online, then deploy. If not, wait for a trigger. Marcel.
Okay, one more time. Can a trigger and a schedule be combined? If a computer's online.
So you're basically saying check first if the machine's online before you deploy, and if not, then go to the schedule. Is this how I read it? Which I think there is a option in there to see. Well, there's check to see if anyone's currently logged on. I don't know if there's an online one off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's logged on state. But yeah, I don't know if online. I don't think there's one that says if it's online, do it. Otherwise, go to a schedule.
Yeah, I don't either.
I say Colby got the point on that one.
Kobe did get that point.
Hey guys, I know, it just came out, but when might Windows 10 20H2 inventory collections and deploy cumulative updates be available? Love the webcasts. Keep it up, Chris S.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
So that's the latest creator build. I assume soon if it is that. I thought it was still in the preview mode where it wasn't generally available. But if it is generally available, then I would assume it's going to be updated soon. Well, we try to keep up on top of that for sure.
Soon?
Soon, trademark.
Tim?
It came out yesterday. If it came out yesterday, then I will guarantee soonish.
Soonish? Soonish with some testing on our
Sooner
end.
than later.
Later, but sooner, not later. Okay.
Yeah, it's just something we do try to keep on top of that. So if it came out just yesterday, it's been a busy time, but we for sure will get those as soon as possible.
A flogging will ensue.
All right, we'll continue with this not-so-speedy speed round. Is there a listing of the error codes and meanings one might receive during a PDQ deployment? Thank you once again, Commander R.
Now, error codes are generally vendor-specific. So if you're
Similar to silent parameters.
Exactly.
The research.
now if you're getting MS error codes, or I actually spelled that right.
MS.
Shut up.
He was excited that he spelled error correctly.
You guys, have I told you I loved you today?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. And there's a reason for that. Don't love. Just
It was
kidding.
implied.
It was implied. I like to, okay, system error codes from Microsoft. You go here and just make sure when you grab or you're searching for them, you're in the right, this is 0 to 499. So if you're searching for the 1300s, you got to be down here. And the 1300 error code's down on this side. So
And you can search for success codes as well for each individual application.
absolutely. And again, error codes, return codes are vendor specific. So you might need to go to the vendor for those. That was speedy almost.
Yeah, you're getting there.
We're starting to get the hang of this now that it's almost done.
Yeah, 2 questions left. Let's see how fast you can go.
Okay.
Dear Lex, sorry for an off-topic question. Is it possible to get a report of the contents of child collections of a collection? I was trying to compile a list of applications in my collections, but ended up getting all apps on the workstations that had the apps from the collections. Gabriel B.
Can you read that again fast, Kelly?
Yeah.
I'm just
No, I can if you like. Sorry for an off-topic question. Is it possible to get a report of the contents of the child collections of a collection? I was trying to compile a list of applications of my collections, but it ended up getting all apps on the workstations that had the apps from the collections. Gabriel B.
May cause constipation, diarrhea.
So I guess my question is he looking for just the actual child collections or the data within the child collections?
I thought it was a tongue twister, honestly.
Possible SQL report, but depends what data he wants.
Yeah. Need a little more info on that. Shoot it in, we'll take a look.
Yeah, so if it's something where you're looking for just data within the specific child collections, you could make if the report's not working for you, a default collection that just points to those child collections.
And he says just the data within the collections.
Just the data within the collection?
Yeah.
So obviously, if the report's not working for you, the report should be able to grab that, so something we might be able to help with. But otherwise, you can create a collection that just basically grabs all the members of existing
said.
child collections, and that would be put it just in a single spot for you. But if the report should be working, so I would contact support and see if we can't help you fine tune that to grab the data you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. Our final question of the day. Hey guys, looking at my list of all deploy schedules, I see IDs that start at like number 20. Am I missing 19 other hidden or past deleted schedules somewhere? Viewing all columns, I don't see any disabled schedules either. Sincerely, Rich B.
Well, hey, Rich, you'll notice the one schedule that I have right now is schedule number 29. And that is an incremental number. So I've deleted 28 others before I got to this one. The next one will be 30, and so on and so forth. That gets reset if you delete your database. So that's the number of your ID. That's just the unique ID number at that point of your schedule. So that increments. That's why you probably deleted others. Well, hopefully that wasn't as painful. Well, I had a good time, guys. It was fun. Thank you guys for watching. Best practices, again, you're learning from what we did wrong, so please don't do what we did wrong. Do the right stuff. I'm Lash from PDQ.com. Catch you later.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Commander R and Jim L, winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe, and we'll see you back here next time.